4.
Amazing new features in ChatGPT.
Welcome to the Data for All podcast. I'm Charlie Apigian.
And I'm Charlie Yielding, where we want to empower you to think different with data. This is another Data 4 edition where we take one topic and list out 4 items specifically to get you thinking in a data actionable way.
Excellent. And so, Charlie, what do we have in store for our listeners today?
Well, there's been a lot of changes in ChatGPT, and we're not talking about the GPT-4 engine. We're talking about the actual product, ChatGPT.
Yep.
And it's really changed the way that I've been using GPT for the past few months. If that's even possible, that it's ramped up even more change and impact on my life. But I figure it's a good time to share this with everybody else, because if there ever was one AI that you wanted to pay for the subscription for, it would be GPT Plus.
And with a lot of the new changes in what we're seeing and a lot of those updates, you may be able to get rid of a couple of other subscriptions.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that.
And we will. And so really 3 of these are like amazing, but to get us to that 4, we thought we would just at least remind people of another feature of ChatGPT that we think is pretty cool and underused, I would say.
Yep.
And we'll see that. So should we get right to it?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So the first one is the one that is not a big wow, but we think it's pretty cool. First of all, GPT-4, we're seeing a lot of improvements to speed. Is that correct?
Yeah. So when GPT-4 was released, that was one of the things that they specifically called out, that it's going to be slower than 3.5.
Yep.
But it understands contextual things better, like the relationships between things and images and words to one another, et cetera, et cetera. If we go back to the podcast where we started talking about it, we had this sentence that was from A to Z about the importance of data, and 3.5 couldn't get it, but 4 could. Well, that was slower then, but over time, in this case, a very short period of time, it's getting faster. Yeah,
and something that has also been part of this GPT-4 update way back when, but again, we're seeing now it can be really used is custom instructions. So do you use custom instructions at all?
So in my grocery list that I've talked about before, I keep that in the same chat.
Okay.
And so what I've told it before, it remembers. And so when I ask for specific types of instructions or meal plans or whatever, it knows what to keep out and what to keep in there.
Well, in custom instructions, you can, if you go to the bottom left corner, click the 3 little dots, it'll bring up your settings, and one of those is custom instructions. And some of the stuff that I've been getting a little bit more familiar with is changing the way the instructions, or I should say the answers coming back to me can be. Because a lot of times if I'm doing code or I'm just wanting to get like a formula for Excel, it's giving me all of this other stuff. And so recently I just went in and said, hey, instead of giving me all the other fluff, just give me the code or just give me the formula.
Yeah.
And now when I go in and say, give me an Excel formula for an if-then statement that includes between 2 values or whatever, it'll give it to me. And it won't add the 80 other words that were like, certainly will do that, all that other stuff. It just gives it to you. And that makes it so much easier so that I could just copy and paste it and be done with it.
It's very transactional.
Yes.
But if you're looking for a formula for a spreadsheet, that's the kind of interaction you would want.
Exactly. Or maybe I want more explanation, and therefore I can put that into my custom instructions. I can also put in things such as my own content, or make sure it knows who I am, and put in that I'm a very young man in the Nashville area. Make sure that the answers are always understands where I am locally.
Yeah.
And so you can go in and do that. So, obviously we're trying to keep these to just a few minutes, but I thought we should point that out. Go into custom instructions, go onto YouTube and do custom instructions, ChatGPT, and you're going to get a lot of insight on how to make the experience better.
Yeah, I think I actually lied earlier because I haven't done, I thought you meant context from telling it in line with the program, not.
Yeah,
I've got a new thing to play with
now. Yeah, there you go. And that was the same thing for me. So if you know it's always going, you always want it to be a certain way, and it's never going to change, put in custom instructions. If it's just for that one prompt, then you would go in and do it that one time in the actual inline part. But,
okay, so your custom instructions will stay across different chats, or is it chat specific?
It is all of your future chats.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you want to be very specific in those instructions, because if you don't want to say, don't ever give me explanation,
right,
because it's only for Excel formulas.
Yeah.
And then, so say, if you give me an Excel formula, do not give me extra explanation, and it will obey that.
Well, I'm glad you brought this up now, because that I didn't know that there was across the board.
Yep.
So if you're like my mind just started turning a whole lot, and if you're writing a book or something like that through GPT, that would be really good to have those preset instructions, so you don't accidentally plagiarize or anything like that.
And you can do things like that as well. You can also, by the way, I don't think people know this, but if you go into custom instructions, two things I would add. If you can add confidence level and say high, medium, and low to ChatGPT, and so in custom instructions saying, for every answer, give me the confidence that you're correct. So hallucinations can now have a meter on it, and you can have it say, I would say that my confidence in this answer is high, or it's a medium, or it's a low. You know, it's hard to get like a number to it, but you can do that. And you can always say, and if there is a source, please give me the source. And so if you do that in custom instructions, that means every time you get an answer in the future, it'll tell you how confident it is in the answer, and also where it got it from. Yeah.
And could you also say, if it's medium or lower confidence, give me counter arguments or other options for answers?
That's a great, I mean, try it and see. But I've tried those things, and then that works really good. Okay, let's get to the next one, because obviously we can, this might be a little bit longer because these are wowzers, right?
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to go to one that you want to explain for us? Why don't we go to our number 3 on here?
Yeah. So between the two of us, we've tried all these new features, but
you've done more with this one.
Yeah, and so Dall-E 3, for those of you who aren't aware, is brand new, and it's also available in ChatGPT. So in the past, to go to Dall-E 2, you had to go to Dall-E, openai.dall-E.com or Dall-E.openai, whatever it is.
Yep.
And then you'd use it there, and it was terrible. And when I say terrible, I mean I was never able to get any kind of image that was even remotely close to what I wanted out of it. And I would play around with it to have a little bit of fun, see what it could come up with. But ultimately, the day I tried MidJourney, I was just like, oh, well, this is obviously way better. And I'm a huge MidJourney fan, you know that. And so I have literally not used Dall-E until like the last day or so. Yeah. And there's reasons why you want to use Dall-E 3, right? First of all, it is ChatGPT Plus. So it's got to be the GPT-4. So if you're not paying for a subscription, I'm sorry, folks, you're not going to see it, because if you're in there and you look at 3.5, it doesn't give you an option. But if you go in to a new chat and you've selected GPT-4 because you have ChatGPT Plus, when you highlight over GPT-4, you're going to see default. You're going to see browse with Bing now in beta, advanced data analysis, that used to be code interpreter. You're going to see plugins, and then but at the bottom is Dall-E 3 now. Yeah. And so Dall-E 3 for by the way, DALLE 3. Yeah. So for reference, it's MidJourney level like art that comes out of it, but the prompting is quite a bit different. So with MidJourney, prompt engineering is like highly recommended. Absolutely. Like you need to know what words carry the most weight. Like and that's a part of your role with Dall-E, or not with Dall-E, with MidJourney. Dall-E, however, Dall-E 3, it works in line with GPT. And so what I did is I created I had this little story that I made up with the kids and our neighbor kid it was Quark, the interdimensional traveling our interdimensional space-time traveling pug dog.
Yes. And by the way, cute and adorable pictures.
Yeah,
Thank you for showing.
we'll post one of those up. But we created a story, whole backstory, like where he's from and like how you interact with him. So he's teeny tiny, but he never moves. He's just static when we look at him. But he pops in and out of existence, hence the name Quark.
Gotcha.
But if you touch him, then you can go with him wherever he goes, and so you can travel all over the place. And so I just put the description because I thought it was so cute that I wrote it all down after the fact because we did this on a walk. And then I just put the paragraph that I created into Dall-E and it spit it out. It gave me 4 options like MidJourney, and then I can select those and go with it, but I can also prompt it into different situations as well. Okay, so take image 1 and then turn the background a different color and then change the size of the pug dog and all this other kind of stuff. And it'll do that contextually.
In a chat, and it has memory. And that's the big difference between any other image generation tool. Like when I'm doing things in MidJourney, if I don't like what I see, I have to copy and paste the prompt, change it. Also, you mentioned you have to really know how to use MidJourney. And first of all, you have to know how to use Discord. You have to create your own Discord server. You have to pay the $10 a month, which again, I've loved it up to this point, and I'm probably going to still keep it. I really do like it.
There are reasons to keep it, which we can get into in a minute, but keep on going.
And then the other thing then goes to, in terms of like the syntax, everything with MidJourney, you start with a dash, and then AR means aspect ratio. And then you could say 16:9. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You got to figure out what I do wrong. Oh, I added a space here. And none of that is something you have to worry about with Dall-E 3.
Right.
And also, it has that memory of, so if you created, like I created a picture of a bulldog running through a meadow because that was the first thing I ever did in MidJourney. So I did it with Dall-E 3. And then my only next line was make it pop art. And it knew I wanted a bulldog running in a meadow. I didn't have to repeat all of that like I would have in MidJourney.
Yeah, which I enjoy very much.
Yeah.
Because I was having a hard time with just getting with the flow in MidJourney, and so this has brought me up to speed, and then some, because I can then take, so your bulldog, my pug dog, we can say, okay, my pug dog is Quark, so this is Quark. Like if it spits out an image and I tell it that's Quark, it's going to remember that's Quark, and then if I say now put Quark in this scene doing this thing, it'll just do it.
That is so cool. That is so cool. I got to do that with my Lucy dog little logo thing I've got going. That would be a lot of fun to see what it would do with that for sure. I haven't tried that. Can you upload your own images and then it will use that as context?
That's a part of a different thing, but yes.
Okay.
So you can load stuff with Vision and then you can take stuff from Vision. As far as I understand, maybe not. I don't know.
All right. Well, that'll be our next one. And we're already almost at 15 minutes. So we're going to assume this is going to be a 25-ish one.
Okay.
And I think we'll be okay because this is good stuff. But you just mentioned Vision, so let's go there. That's number 3 on our list. And that is ChatGPT now has the ability to look at pictures and give you answers.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
And I'm the one that will tell you because I've been playing with it a lot lately. And I'm very impressed.
Yeah. So it can essentially sort out everything in the picture and then tell you what's going on with it and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And I've played with it some, but tell me about your experience with it so far.
Well, a couple of things. First of all, the app on your phone is amazing. So you can take a picture of anything and it's going to give you at least what it would normally give you if you gave it the right text prompt.
Yeah.
So I was at a gala here in town where they do one of those silent auctions, and I just wanted to know a couple of things about some of the things I wanted to bid on. Took a picture and just said, "Tell me something about it," and it went into way too much detail of when the company was founded and all this stuff. And I'm like, what does it retail for? And it gave me we can't give you the exact thing. You should always go check. But it roughly is about this. And I was like, okay, I'll bid this amount on that. And, I could have Googled it, right?
Yeah.
But there was such an easier experience doing it with the phone. But I have been uploading images of whiteboards and just saying, make sense of it, put it in notes, and it does it perfectly. I've got this idea with our good buddy Zach Gemignani for a book. And I might have to share a lot of that as we get going so that our listeners can help us write the book, because we want to make sure we get feedback on it. But we had a whiteboard of all our crazy stuff, and I said, give us a snappy little title that would be, that would catch people's attention, and also give us what you think the chapters would be. And from just the whiteboard, no other information, it did pretty good. It gave us a title, a table of contents, and a summary of what the book is going to be.
So it's like you had a third person in the room.
And that third person does better at notes than anybody else I've ever had from a whiteboard. And think how many times we take pictures of whiteboards, and then we never look at that picture again, right?
That's my standard interaction with a whiteboard.
Oh, I love whiteboards, though. I think really good with a whiteboard. I think it's the best way to brainstorm.
I don't know about best, but it is a really good way to brainstorm.
Well,
but
again, I'm an academic where I have one of those in every room, and I think really well with a whiteboard.
Yeah,
I do. So vision. Now, here's the part that we're going to start to see. I could take a picture of a worksheet if I was in 5th grade and I had math problems, and say, give me the answers to all the problems on this page, and it will.
Yeah, including the work.
Including the work. And I can say including the work in this style, because I know there's some ways you do math these days, which I don't really, I just know how to add 2 numbers together, but...
you're triggering some people right now.
Yeah. What is it called?
I don't know. I know exactly what you're talking about, but it literally is eluding me right now.
Okay. Well, we're not gonna worry about that. But anything that you can, you have an image of, you can upload and put that on there. I took a picture of a coaster at my house just to do it for the heck of it, and because it had the word Verner's on it. Verner's is a ginger ale from the Detroit area, and it's my favorite. And you can sort of get it down here in the South, but not always. And so I just took a picture of that coaster and said, "What is this?" And it gave me perfect. It knew exactly what it was based on the logo, more than anything else, I think. And that to me is unbelievable.
Yeah. So I just took a regular photo of a cat, with in a home and all that kind of stuff. And so I asked it to give me a summary of the picture. And it was like, in this picture, you've got a gorgeous cat that's sitting here doing this kind of stuff, and it looks like it's in a home and all this other type of stuff. And then I said, well, what do you see in the background? And then there was a door with some of those beads that hang down. I had no idea what it was called, and so I was like, "What is that? What is that in the doorway in the background?" And it said, "Those are separation." It called it a separation curtain.
Okay.
And I was like, "Well, what is it used for?" And it's like it's usually to signify like a different living space and all this other kind of stuff. And so that is what's impressive to me, because it's if I ever look at a photo and I'm like, "Well, what is that?" I can literally now take that and put it into GPT. And then it'll tell me what it is, because I can say, "Tell me what that specific thing in the background is."
I just took a picture. I don't know if it's going to work. Okay. I took a picture from Geodis Park. There was a USA Ghana game, and I had really good seats for the game. You can do that a lot of times when you go to those kind of games. And I just put it in and said, "Where is this?" And it came back that it is a soccer match, definitely an MLS stadium, and it's U.S. playing, involving U.S. national. It's challenging to pinpoint the exact location or stadium. Now, that's because if that was Nashville team, I wonder if it would get it, because it would recognize. But it recognized that it was the USA team, and just can't recognize from the picture that it's Geodis Park.
Well, Geodis Park is relatively new.
It's very new. It's just over a year old.
Yeah. So does Vision go back to or go past 2021?
That's a great question. I think we can look that up, and we'll leave some show notes links in there that go directly to that. All right. We have one left, don't we?
But yep. And then that does lead to the stuff that makes it to where we can get to the internet now.
Okay.
And that's browsing with Bing,
which is directly in ChatGPT now, correct?
As a part of the Plus subscription, you get, just like we were talking earlier, you can select the vision, or no, you don't select the vision download, you upload a picture.
Right.
Then you can select the analytics or the code interpreter. You can select the browsing, and then you can select Dall-E 3.
Yep.
And then plugins
and
as well.
plugins. Yep.
And so the browser thing for me has been the biggest game changer, because we've been held back to September 2021 for the past 6 months or so. Mm-hmm. How long has it been now? Is it just 6 months that we've been messing with AI?
Well, it came out in November of 2021, and I would say that I started using it March.
That's when it feels like we started using it. Like we got into it really in March.
Yeah.
Okay, so it has been about 6 months. But that's changed. It's changed the way that I've used it, because I've always known, like, well, if it's new, I can't go ask it. So if I'm trying to Google something or something like that, I still need to use Google for the most part.
Right.
There were things that I would use it for as a Google replacement to establish like what the average height of a skyscraper floor is, because Google's not going to figure that out.
Right.
But GPT could do it, and it's old stuff, so nobody cares.
Wow.
But then with this browser add-on, whatever you want to call it, like I haven't used Google since. Like I've gone straight over to GPT.
Oh, wow.
And I've just asked it the questions, and I'm not talking about like little baby questions neither. I'm not talking about what year something came out. I'm talking about, hey, I've got this complex problem with a piece of software that I'm trying to connect with this other piece of software. How do I fix it? And it literally went out and looked at it, scraped the internet for the information I needed, brought it back, and then gave me everything I needed. And so it told me what could potentially be wrong with this project that I was trying to do. And then I asked it how to fix it, and it gave me all the options to fix it too. And I was able to fix it using that.
Wow.
And it's not just that. Like, there was some microphone stuff that I had problems with. It sounded tinny, and I don't know anything about microphones or gain or anything like that. And so I asked it, like, how do I fix the tinny sound in an MX7? And it brought it up, and it showed me how to do all that stuff. Yeah,
that is really cool. I'm using another picture, and there's one where I've got a screen behind me, and I'm like, what's on the screen? And it's giving me exactly what it is. So vision is really cool. In terms of using, so that is, for Microsoft, a huge thing, because now it's taking people away from, Bard has got to step up its game. And I think technically it's already kind of baked into Google search now, but I don't think people realize it. And, just the little things like what you said, like you can give it a picture of your house and say, how would you rearrange the furniture so that, and it will give you something back. You can ask what's in the picture, and it will tell you exactly what it is.
You got me thinking now that I'm going to use GPT to get my feng shui right.
There you go. Maybe we need to do it for this room, because we keep talking about, okay, when we how can we set this room up so that when we have guests, it looks nice and pretty? Because right now it looks great. I think we like the way that we look in here, but that's because these arms are out of the way. That would be in the way. And all of that is really, really cool stuff. So we've had 3. So I'm going to ask, because I'm going to let us go a couple minutes longer. Out of the 4, so we had number 1 was GPT is faster and custom instructions, which I bet you we can add custom instructions for Bing as well in there. That would be kind of cool. Number 2 for us was Dall-E 3 and how you can create images. What it allows you to do is everybody can now create images. There's not the barrier of like what MidJourney had for people. Number.
Well, I do want to say though, so MidJourney does have one benefit in that since it's in the Discord server, if you pay for the subscription, you can add it to a server that you have, and then you've got your family in there, and so your whole family has access to this one thing.
Anybody could have access to it
technically, but like you'd want to kind of keep it, in a smaller group because you're paying for compute hours basically to make the images and whatnot. So close friends, family, it doesn't matter. But the GPT stuff is just my login. Like I can't share that with
and
other
what
people.
else is really good about MidJourney is, and you don't need a subscription for MidJourney for this, but you see everybody's work in the main channel.
Yeah.
And, or if you put it in there. So if you have the free version of MidJourney, you can you see what everybody else is doing. So that gives you inspiration. So it's where I learned how to, I'll say hyper realistic.
Yeah.
And that gives me amazing looking stuff as opposed to just realistic. For some reason, the word hyper makes it that much more beautiful, I guess.
And from a community perspective, they have like days where it's like, today is this motif day.
Yeah.
And so like see what everybody can do.
It's a great way to learn with the community. That is true. All right, keep going here. We've got our third one then was vision. Vision is a game changer. It is the ability to, it's closer to having an assistant in my, at least the way I'm seeing it. And then fourth, of course, browsing with Bing and allowing you to go from pure search to search and the actual answer that you want.
Search.
Empowered search. Ooh,
Yeah. So you were going to ask a question at the beginning of that.
I was?
Yeah.
What was?
Was it close to, was it going to be something like, what's your favorite?
Out of Bing versus Google or out of the four? Oh, yeah, I was. I was going to ask that. Thank you for reminding me. We got sidetracked with the MidJourney talk. Out of the four, what do you feel is the biggest game changer out of the four?
Definitely, for me, it's the Bing one because I've stayed away from some of the other ones that have web browsing just because of the hallucinations and whatnot. And the Bing one also has like references. So if you get an answer, it's got little numbers at the end of everything, and you just click on the number, and that pulls up where the where it's at on the internet and whatnot. And I've had so much success in troubleshooting my life with that, and it's like I'm using it almost every day. I mean, I am using it every day because I search for something.
Yeah.
And so just since you've been on here, like I've been doing searches, and so one thing to note is you can look people up on the internet or on the Bing one, like tell me about Charlie Yielding or whatnot. But if you say give me personal information, it's just like, no, we're not doing that.
Okay.
So it stays away from people.
All right, but it might give you a link for you to go and do the rest of it. I gotcha. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Vision for now. I think I'm going to play a lot more with it, but I like this ability. It's something new where search and Bing and I've been using Bard a lot, and I think I'm going to probably switch because I'd rather just keep everything in one place. Yeah, and then I'll play a lot with Dall-E 3, but the Vision one, especially with the ability to do it on my phone, has been really good. Yeah,
I think to your point earlier, I think I'm going to start trying to do more notes. Handwritten notes, because I do enjoy that, and I find the physical aspect of tracing one thought to the next and all that kind of stuff, it helps out a lot. But I do really hate then having to go and reorganize my notes and stuff later. That's a good point. Yeah, and I've gotten to writing in a notepad again. Again, it goes to this idea of I think better by physically writing. It's more of that. And so I should be taking pictures and then having it transcribe there. I mean, there's so much. I mean, we're now in a lot of our meetings using things like Firefly and Otter, which transcribes immediately. And the personal assistant is getting closer. It's getting closer. And I think the Vision part for me is going to be really neat. So yeah, I think we'll call this a double data for. How long we got?
We're almost at 30, which I think it's worth 30 minutes. That's fine. Yeah, on this one. Anything else? No, that's it. Keep playing with ChatGPT, and we'll keep coming back with the new stuff for everybody. I don't have anything else either to add to this other than I've got a lot more playing to do and looking forward to it. I definitely will never get rid of my subscription if they keep doing these iterations. It already feels like something I'll have forever. Yeah, for sure. And so with that, keep playing with ChatGPT and all of the new AI tools out there, folks, and we will as well. And hopefully you like what you hear with the Data 4s. And if you want to look us up, we're at data4all.io. That's data, the number 4, all.io. And for the Data for All podcast, I'm Charlie Apigian. And I'm Charlie Yielding. And until next time. Cool. Just because. That was the best one I could come up with. That's my favorite one. So I verbalize that all the time. So even my kids now, like something will happen where we drop something, and my kid from another room will be like, wah, 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 yeah, that is a good one.